All right, so welcome to another deep dive. You know what we do here? We take something interesting and we really like just dig in deep. And today we're looking at David Guetta and Sia's song, Beautiful People.
A classic.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't love a little bit of Guetta
Yeah.
and Sia? And,
Mhm.
it's a catchy song, but we're going a little deeper than just the surface level. We want to understand what this song is telling us about, like, how to live,
Exactly.
Like, what does it value and what are the messages behind those really catchy lyrics? And to help us do that, we have excerpts from the YouTube video transcript so we can see exactly what the lyrics are.
Right.
And you've also given me like a little analysis document sort of breaking down
Yeah.
some of the key ideas, which is great.
Yeah. It's remarkable how much is packed into just a few minutes, of pop music.
Absolutely.
Really is.
Let's jump in. The first thing that really jumps out at me is this idea of the high life. It's not just like a one-off phrase. It's like woven throughout the entire song.
Yeah, it's a recurring theme.
It is, yeah, and the lyrics themselves actually give us some clues to what this high life actually means, because there's this one line that says, "This is the high nothing dragging us through the thorns. This is the best time to be young, old, or reborn, live like we're going to die, do things we never done before." That says the high life, the high life.
Yeah.
Like, wow, that's a mouthful right there.
It is.
But when you look at that,
Mm-hmm.
what are the key things that kind of jump out at you about this high life concept?
Well, I think right away you get this sense of like liberation.
Okay.
It's almost like there are no limits. The phrase, nothing dragging us through the thorns really suggests a conscious decision to not be weighed down
Right.
by, whatever difficulties life throws your way.
It's like leaving the baggage behind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it actually reminds me of a principle in psychology called cognitive restructuring, where you challenge those negative thoughts and you reframe them to
Interesting.
prevent them from, having so much power over you.
Like taking control of your own thoughts and kind of directing them in a positive direction.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, you get this powerful encouragement, like live like we're going to die, do things we've never done before. It's almost a little bit urgent,
Right.
And it makes me think of the idea of memento mori, this ancient concept of remembering your mortality so that you actually live more intentionally and appreciate each day.
That's pretty deep for a pop song, though, isn't it?
It is, but I think it's in there,
Yeah.
even if it's not explicit.
Yeah. And I like that you brought up the idea of intentionality, because it's not just about like living for the moment necessarily. It's about living with purpose,
Yeah, exactly. And then there's this idea of rebirth, that it doesn't matter how old you are or what you've done in the past, you could always have a fresh start.
Right. It's like that whole young, old, or reborn idea.
Yeah.
Anyone can join this high life.
Right.
It's not exclusive.
Exactly. Yeah. Anyone can participate.
So it's not a passive thing, right?
Yeah.
That's high life.
No, not at all.
It's not just like sitting on a beach sipping cocktails. It's about being active and involved.
It requires effort.
Yeah, and we see that in other lines too, like hands I stretch, what you got, give me your best, and I won't turn it down.
Yeah.
There's like a real sense of like energy and enthusiasm there.
Absolutely. Like an openness and a willingness to connect with others.
And then there's that line, so come with me, let's push until the break. Like there's this drive to keep going,
Yeah, it's about pushing boundaries.
Yeah, and doing it together.
It's not a solo journey,
It's a shared journey. It's a collective thing.
Yeah, it's about shared experience and mutual support, encouraging each other to reach those higher levels.
So it's not just about being positive. It's about being actively positive. It's about putting in the effort.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that brings us to another interesting point. The song stands on negativity because, you hear that line, beautiful people don't stress, we never rest.
Yeah, that's like a recurring theme, right?
It is, yeah. And then there's also the nothing dragging us through the thorns idea again.
So it's not just about like being happy. It's about like actively rejecting the negative stuff.
It's about choosing not to dwell on those things,
Right. So how do we reconcile that with the we never rest part?
Yeah.
Because it sounds a little contradictory, right?
Yeah, I think it's important to note that this lack of rest isn't about, burning yourself out.
Right.
It's not about being constantly busy and stressed. It's more about a continuous state of like engagement, being purpose driven. And that's where the energy comes from.
So it's like the difference between being busy and being productive.
Exactly. Yeah. It's about channeling your energy into positive action. And that's what keeps you moving forward.
I like that. Yeah. And it ties in with this idea of saying yes. Because another line that really stands out is beautiful people say yes.
Mhm.
Like it's so simple, but so powerful.
It's like a mantra, it's repeated throughout the song.
It is, yeah. And I think it speaks to this idea of being open to new experiences and possibilities, right?
Absolutely. Saying yes can lead to so many incredible things.
Yeah, like you never know what's going to happen if you say yes to something that maybe you would have normally said no to.
Right. It's about stepping outside of your comfort zone.
And then there's this line that I find really intriguing, but maybe a little bit ambiguous. It's the,
Mhm.
because you're always out to impress. Because you're always out to impress. You're always out to impress.
Yeah, that one's interesting.
Because on the surface, it could sound a bit negative,
Hmm.
like it's all about appearances. But given the overall positive message of the song, how do we make sense of that line?
I think if we tie it back to the ideas of, contributing and shared experience, maybe trying to impress, is actually about bringing your best self to the table.
Okay, so it's not about being superficial. It's about like showcasing your talents and your energy in a positive way.
Exactly. Yeah, it's about impressing through your actions, your commitment to the shared experience.
So it's like trying to impress by being a good person and contributing to the group.
Yeah, and that actually aligns really well with the lines about, living like we're going to die and doing things we never done before. It's about pushing those boundaries and making the most of the present moment.
Right, because if you're living like every day is your last, you want to make a good impression. You want to do things that matter.
Absolutely. And that ties into the let's push until the break idea too. That sense of urgency and drive to experience life to the
It's
fullest.
like they're saying, don't waste time on things that don't matter.
Hmm.
Go out there and do something amazing.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think all of these messages are really amplified by the repetition in the song.
Yeah.
The phrases like beautiful people say yes and go, go, go. They're not just catchy, they're like little
They're
reminders.
like mantras.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. They keep those core ideas front and center.
The way they address the listener directly, like,
Yeah.
hands, I stretch, what you got, give me your best. It's so personal.
It's like they're speaking directly to you, inviting you to join them.
And then there's that interesting contrast again with the beautiful people don't stress, stress we never rest. It's like, on the one hand, they're saying, don't worry, be happy. But on the other hand, they're saying, always be active, always be doing something.
Right, but I think it's about finding that balance between being engaged and being at peace.
So it's not about being lazy. It's about being active in a way that brings you joy.
Exactly, and avoiding those things that drain your energy.
Okay. So if we were to sum this all up for a listener,
Yeah.
what are the key takeaways from this deep dive into beautiful people?
Well, I think the song is ultimately advocating for a very energetic and optimistic approach to life. It's about actively pursuing joy and fulfillment, connecting with others and saying yes to new experiences.
It's about living life to the fullest and not letting negativity hold you back.
Yeah, and choosing to focus on the positive things that bring you energy.
I like that. So here's a final thought for you, our listener, to consider, thinking about this idea of the high life, this active positive engagement with the world. How might that apply to your own life right now?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Like, what could you say yes to that you might normally say no to?
And how could you actively cultivate this mindset of, you know, positive action and maybe even push your own boundaries a little bit in your daily routine?
Because it seems like this song isn't just about having a good time. It's about a way of being in the world.
It is. And maybe the beautiful people they're referring to are just the people who choose to live that way, with open hearts and minds.
With a positive attitude and a willingness to embrace life's adventures.
Absolutely.
Beautiful people say yes.
That's it.
All right, that's our deep dive on beautiful people. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We'll see you next time.
See you later.
Bye.